everybody, it's Cheyenne and welcome back to my channel. Today I actually wanted to talk about some weird things patients do that I've noticed while working in the dental office. And some days, it's all right, and then some days you're just kind of like, all right, Karen, let's get it together, okay? I ain't got time for this. The number one thing that I find really kind of weird that I don't really understand is why certain people, when they get into the dental chair, they take off their shoes. I've seen it so many times and I just don't understand why you would take off your shoes. I'm assuming they think they're being nice by taking off their shoes before getting in the chair, maybe to get comfy. I don't know. But first of all, a dental office is so gross. I would never be barefoot in one. And plus, all dental chairs have that plastic cover on the bottom for your feet. That is dirty and gross that we do wipe, but no, not happening. And it's just kind of weird. Some people, have stinky feet and you're sitting there barefoot. No, I would never. Very weird thing people do. I have no clue why. Do you take off your shoes before going in a dental chair? Who does that? I don't know. Second thing is, now this is my biggest pet peeve, which I'm sure it's a lot of dental assistants' biggest pet peeves, or anybody in general, but when a patient shows up late to their appointment, even if it's just a few minutes, I understand things happen, but we only have this allotted time to get so much stuff done. And then when they show up late, you're already on a time crunch. And then they'll ask you for a toothbrush and want to go brush their teeth in the bathroom for 10 minutes. I don't care if your teeth are dirty, Karen. I want you in that chair so we can get it going, okay? That's my biggest pet peeve. I understand why people do it, but they want to have clean teeth. They know we're going to be in their mouth. But believe me, I've seen a lot of gross stuff. That salad you had for lunch in your teeth is not gonna bother me. I'd much rather you get in that chair so we can get started. Eye contact during x-rays, it is so incredibly uncomfortable. I understand eye contact is important, but when you're taking dental x-rays on somebody and somebody is just piercing through your soul, it's creepy. It's weird. I'm standing in front of them okay, open up. And they're it's weird, okay? Don't look me in the eyes when I'm doing stuff in your mouth. It's just uncomfortable. Or when I'm putting a temporary crown on and you're just staring at me it's so weird. Please don't do that. Look somewhere else, look away, close your eyes. I don't know, but don't look me directly in the eye. It's so weird. Oh my gosh, and stealing things. It's so weird. I've walked in on a few people, not a ton of people, but stealing stuff out of the dental office. It's crazy to me. I've walked on someone stealing cotton rolls and cotton. People try to steal anesthetic, lidocaine and things like that. I had this one lady once that stole all the toilet paper out of our office. What the heck? Which, I guess I more understand the toilet paper, but why are you stealing cotton rolls and stuff like that? I don't get it. I get the lidocaine. If you have a syringe at home, you can get it out in, but it's just so weird. Why are you stealing stuff? What are you gonna do with these little cotton rolls? Oh, something else that I've actually been asked this so many times, and I don't understand why, because I never thought this before I was a dental assistant, but patients assume that dental assistants are either in training to be a dentist or a hygienist, or that we're not paid, or that we're just in school. It's really weird. And I've been asked this multiple times as a dental assistant, oh, how's school going? Or, oh, it sucks that you're not paid for this. And I'm just sitting there I would not be doing this if I was not paid. Assume that you're in training to be a dentist or a hygienist, which is actually very insulting. And I don't know why patients always assume that, but another weird thing that patients do. I don't know. It's odd. It's a profession. We're all working. We're not all in training. Also, another pet peeve of mine is patients on their phone during treatment. And it sounds ridiculous, but it happens so much. And it's funny because I had this patient the other day. She was like a middle-aged woman, and we were talking about people being on their phones a lot because her phone actually rang during the filling, and she kind of just reached her hand down and shut off the ringer, which didn't disrupt us. That was fine. But my doctor and I were talking about how, you know, some patients will like straight up like be FaceTiming people during treatment, or like literally talking on the phone and making us wait, or texting. You know, they'll reach up with their phone and try to text with their mouth wide open, like so weird. And it's actually very inconsiderate. It's an appointment, you know, just like when you go to the doctor's office or whatever, we have a scheduled time to get done what we can get done in this amount of time, and just put the phone away. I don't understand the big deal. But I found it interesting, this lady, she's like, oh yeah, the younger generation, they're so bad with that. Which I see where she's coming from, because yes, the younger generation, of course, they're the generation of like the internet and like social media, all this kind of stuff. But with my experience, it's actually not the younger generation that's on their phone. Sure, they might take a selfie or something, but they're never on their phone during treatment. It's actually older men that are always on their phone. And I'm not trying to stereotype it, but it's always older men all the time. And I just found that really interesting that she assumed it was younger kiddos or the younger generation, because in my experience, it's always older, typically older men. Which brings me into something else that patients do, which luckily I haven't experienced anything too crazy. Again, dental assisting, you work in a very, you know, woman-dominated field. Besides, the dentist usually is a male, but every other staff member is typically a female, and dental assistants are usually female. And they are starting to get more male assistants, which I think is great, but typically, you know, you're gonna have a woman assistant. And oh gosh, why do older gentlemen or older guys always have to say the creepiest things? I have heard some of the weirdest things. I had this gentleman that was, actually I'm not gonna call him a gentleman, okay? This guy, he's not a gentleman. He's actually he says a lot of sexual things to people, and it's just gross. But I was taking his x-rays, and I took the picture, and I went to go remove the XCP, and he's like clenching down on it, like, and he has like this grin on his face, and I'm like trying to get it out of his mouth, like, okay, you know. And finally he opens his mouth so I could take it out, and he's like, oh yeah, I like it kinky. Gross. Like, why? Ew. Don't say that to me. It's nasty. And it's always older guys that have these like weird remarks, or like call you like honey, or, and I'm not like a weirdo like that. If you want to call me sweetie, I call people sweetie or ma'am. That doesn't offend me, but don't call me honey, or I've been called sweetness. That's just weird, okay? It's degrading. It's gross. And it's always the older men. And I think the best way for that is you just don't play into it. I usually completely ignore it. Or I do completely ignore it. And I don't ever say anything back unless it's completely out of line, and then I'll be like, that's really inappropriate. But if you just ignore it and don't engage with it, then it usually will stop. But yeah, creepy. Always older men too, always. Always. Oh my gosh, and something else that always drives me crazy is when you ask a patient, like, is anything bothering you? And they're like, nope, everything's fine. Okay, you're not having any pain anywhere? Nope, because I need to know if I'm gonna take an x-ray or anything like that. And they're like, no, everything's good. And then I go seat them in the room, I go get my doctor, and I'm like, all right, they're not saying they're having any pain, you know, they're just here for the scheduled treatment today. And he's like, okay, awesome. And then we go in there, and the doctor's like, so how's it going? Oh, this tooth right here has been killing me. And my doctor looks at me like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh, but he understands that patients, for some reason, will not tell you things, but then will tell the dentist. It drives me insane. I'm asking you a question, just tell me. Tell me what's happening so I can tell the dentist and I can get you prepared for your appointment. That stuff drives me insane. Drives me crazy. Also, something else, for some weird reason, certain patients just seem to forget how to like be a human when they're at the dental office. I don't know if it's because they're nervous or what, but they just lose like all normal function. They can't swallow their saliva. Also, drives me nuts when people won't say anything to you. They won't be like, oh, can you give me some suction? They do this whole weird thing. I'm like, what? Oh, suction? What do you want? Use your words. That drives me crazy. Also, they sit all funky, like in the chair. They're just like, and they're like super stiff, and you're like trying to, and they're just like, drives me nuts. They can't open their mouth. I love too when you put like the x-ray shield, the lead apron on people, and I'm over here like trying to put the XCP together or whatnot, or something on the computer, and I can see it kind of like sliding down, and they're just like, as it's sliding, it's like, why don't you just fix it? And they'll be like, it's sliding, and it's just rolling, like sliding slowly down their chest. It's like, what? I don't understand. Just grab it, Karen. Grab it. Oh gosh. All right, well, I think I've done enough complaining in this video. Patients are just very funny, and we all do funny things, but those are just some of my favorite and some of my not so favorite, especially the creepy old man one. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just want to say too, thank you guys for all the love on my dental assisting videos. When I first started my channel, I never did any dental assisting videos. I thought they would be, you know, I guess kind of boring, and I didn't think anyone would really find them interesting. But I love that there are certain people out there that do find these videos interesting, because I find dental assisting very interesting. I love it. So I just think it's awesome. And I just want to say thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the really sweet emails I get and comments and messages. It's very, very sweet. And yeah, it's awesome. And thank you guys so much. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.